Hey guys, this is Jake, and this is the first in a video series that's going to be going over all of the individual things that we've been covering in the classes we've been taking. Um, we are going to add recorded videos of the classes, but the 2-hour format is going to be hard for most people to go through. So I'm making a series of smaller, hopefully sub 5 minute courses that cover everything we've gone over in the classes. So the first video I'm going to be making is the checklist for creating new content on your website. This is something we went over in class one, and I'm just going to go over that really quickly so that you guys have a brief video that you can take a look at anytime you need to do this. So I gave you guys a checklist in class one. I'll include the checklist in this post, but let me go over this real quick. So number one is do your SEO research. That's going to be covered in another video because there's enough in there that it's its own class. Add the headline. So you can see what I did. This is a WordPress website. I've already added a headline to this actually when I created the page, and then I started to add the second headline. I can see now that I really don't need that second headline, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it because you don't want to have more than one headline. You want one headline, you want it to be an H1, and everything else can go ahead and be below that. You don't need more than one title. And when you create a title on your WordPress website, it automatically becomes the H1 on a page. So there's my headline. Add the keyword to the first paragraph and bold it, only if it makes sense. So this is, it seems a little antiquated to me, but it's something that SEOs who research this continue to say is an important thing. So I'll go ahead and keep doing it. So let's assume that my key phrase here is SEO for content. So it's in my title, SEO for content creation. But now I want to confirm that it's also in the first paragraph of what I'm writing. So let's go ahead. So my first paragraph is now creating content for your website is hard. Harder still is getting your SEO for content to actually rank in search engines like Google. Now, I'm not a professional writer, so I could probably finesse this sentence a little bit better. Nonetheless, I'm going to go ahead and go with this for the moment um, and assume that I'm a great writer, and this makes perfect sense. So I'm going to bold that. SEO for content is now bolded in my first paragraph, exactly the way it's supposed to be. And again, if this doesn't make sense for the reader, don't do it. Make sure there's at least 2 H2 tags in each post. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is let's go ahead and add another bit of, if I can find it here, text to this page. And so this is going to be my H2, which means it's going to be a subheading. It's my first subheading, so I'm going to call it video on how to SEO content. And the reason I'm putting that H2 there, let me make sure that hold on, I just lost it here. Video on how to SEO content. Okay. Now, because this is my subheading, I want that to be an H2. And the reason I'm putting it there is because just below this, I'm going to actually include a video. And so I'm describing what's going to come below. Unfortunately, this is, okay, let's add another section. And this is going to be video. So for the moment, I'll leave this video here, although I'll change this to the video that I'm creating now once I'm ready for that. Now what I'm going to do is get rid of this, duplicate this paragraph, and carry it down here. So now I've got my first paragraph, which by the way, I want justified. My second paragraph, which I also want justified. Okay, so now I've got my first H2. And by the way, guys, I'm going to go through this and style this again. This is not a style video. I just want to make sure I have all the correct content in the page. So I'm just going to go ahead and write this is my second H2. And I'll go ahead and change that to heading 2. Okay, so each one should have 2 H2s, and I'm gonna go ahead and write in, well, let's just do this. Instead of just telling you what I plan on doing, I'll just go ahead and do it. So we now have my SEO checklist here. Gosh, now I'm just going to do it all. This is going to be longer than 5 minutes, guys. Sorry. This, okay. So how to content SEO checklist. There we go. So good. It says it's content SEO right there in the subtitle. And of course, I'm describing what I'm adding here, which is my checklist. So moving on, I now have 2 H2s. I have a title. Use H3s as necessary. So once you get into H3s and H4s, sometimes you're going to have them, sometimes you're not. Make sure you're using them if you need them. Don't just use a dozen H2s. Make sure that your breakdown makes sense. And if you don't understand that, go ahead and use this. This link will send you to a more comprehensive blog on what I'm saying there. Image file name checked. So each blog should have an image in it. It's not 100% necessary, but it's a missed opportunity if you don't have an image there. So for the sake of kind of including that, let's go ahead and add an image. Normally the image would have something to do with what you're actually putting into your blog. And in this case, I've got a bunch of kind of stock images for my website. I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot that I took of the Shasta EDC. And let's actually make some adjustments to this. So a couple things to do with your images. Number one, you want to make sure that you fill in your alt text properly. In this case, I'm going to say something like SEO. Oops. Well, so the alt text should describe the image itself. So this is going to say screenshot of properly SEO website in search engine. So what did I just do? I added my key phrase again, or at least a version of my key phrase in the alt text. SEO actually content. So SEO content is now in the alt text of the image I've just added. And I'm also going to give that image a title. Now the alt text and the title shouldn't be exactly the same, but they should both include your uh, key phrase. So I'll go ahead and call this content SEO image 1. So that's the title of the image. The alt text describes the image and contains my key phrase. Caption and description are fine. You don't necessarily need them. You also want to make sure the file name is proper. So the file name should be, well, I mean, it's going to be the domain name, but see all this stuff right here? So this makes no sense. So it's got the timestamp and all kinds of just random stuff. It's the screenshot and the timestamp of when I took the screenshot. So what I should do is I should go into my files uh, in my computer, rename this so that it has my key phrase in it, then upload it to the website again, and that's how I would manage that. That's how I would change the file name to include my keyword and the image alt and all the other attributes of that image. You just want to include your keyword as many times as you can. If you don't, you're just missing out on opportunities to get this page. You want Google to see the page and understand exactly what it's about. So let's kind of move on. You want to add an excerpt to your page. So I'm going to go ahead and save the progress I've made in my page so far. And there's a few different ways to add an excerpt. In this case, what I would want to do is probably just add Yoast SEO to this page. Let me see. So without Yoast on here yet, what I can do is I can go to my back end and add the excerpt here. So I can go ahead and say this page includes a video and checklist on how to properly, sorry, I'm bad at typing today, properly SEO your content. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and update that. Now I've got my key phrase in my excerpt as well. Now this excerpt is really going to be the hook that people are going to see in the search engine results page. So you want it to be short, sweet, and really explain exactly what people are going to get if they click on your link. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a link to an external source. Now, if you guys remember, in my checklist, I included a link to an external source, not just any external source, but an external source that I am certain has a very high domain authority, Yoast.com, and is well known to Google and other search engines for providing SEO advice. So this is the perfect link to include to an external source. And then add 1 to 2 external links. So how do you add 1 to 2 external links? Well, here's a good one. What if I just typed in, for more information, please email us. And in email us, I'll go ahead and add a link to my contact us page. So now I've got an internal link on my post. You usually want to have about 2 of these. And this encourages people to go ahead and contact us using the email link. So what that does is it kind of tells Google which pages are more important than others. The more important the pages, the more often you ought to link to it, and it gives Google an indication of what we are trying to accomplish with the page. So we don't just want to educate people, we want people to be able to contact us as well. So there's an idea for an internal link. Now, if I mentioned SEO, oh, here's another one. So once I finish my SEO research video, this can link out to that. So there's my next link that I want to add in there. I haven't made that video yet, but once I do, I'll go ahead and link that over. Okay, add categories and tags. So I'm going to save my progress again and edit my post. So categories and tags, they are really great for doing a handful of things. So they're great for helping search engines sort out everything you're writing about, but also people. So right now this is uncategorized, and I don't want to do that. I want to have a couple of categories. Category one obviously should be SEO. So I'm adding SEO. I'm removing uncategorized. I also know that this is about content creation. No, you know what? So I'm going to have SEO be a main category, and then I'm going to add content as a tag. So let me see. I'll do my best at explaining categories and tags. So if I was shopping for shoes, the first thing I would do is type in not just shoes but men's shoes. So if I was shopping for shoes, I might have two main categories, men's and women's. I want to shop men's shoes, so there's my category, and then the tags might be the color of shoes. So I want in men's shoes, I want to find uh, running, say, instead of hiking. So again, top level is categories, and then description, deeper description are tags. So in this case, I am teaching on SEO, specifically content and copywriting. And there's my two tags. So this helps me easily sort my blogs. It helps my readers find my blogs if they are, say, interested in copywriting. They can click that, find all the blogs on copywriting. And then finally, you want to confirm that the author is correct. So let's go ahead and go all the way down to my author here. Oh, you know what? Because I'm logged in as me in my website, that's automatically making me the author. So I don't want to change my name in this case. If I did want to, I would want to manipulate that using the back end of the website. But I'm going to go ahead and be me today, so I don't need to make any changes to the author. So that's going through the checklist using WordPress. Now, of course, each site is going to be different, but I've just properly SEO'd the website. So if you, this is an 18-minute video. It's only 4 times longer than I wanted it to be. So hopefully we can make the next one a little bit shorter, but now you guys know you have the checklist, you have the video. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Otherwise, happy SEOing your content. Thanks, guys.